Hello! Welcome back to Days in Solengard. In the last episode, a lot and very little happened at the same time. With that in mind, this episode is much different. Everything that we get done is something that I had planned on. That said, let me tell you about the plans for today's episode. The first thing I need to get done is resource collection for the project that I have planned. This will consist of two parts. One will be to find a forest I can harvest from that won't affect the area around the mountains. The second part will be a basic resource grind, harvesting leaves from a nearby forest and crafting the specific blocks needed for the build. With that, let's not waste any time and get right to it. After less exploring than I had expected, I found myself a village right next to a forest that was plenty far enough away for me to collect as much oak as I needed and move on like nothing happened. So, here's the montage. After around a day's time in game, I had finished collecting the wood I needed and was ready to head back. And so I did. but not without looking into whatsoever caught my fancy on the way there. After quite the journey, obtaining more treasure and mapping out a pillager outpost, I finally reached home in the middle of a storm. I went straight there to sleep it away before I risked a single charged creeper. Upon morning's arrival, I wanted to get rid of the creepers that had spawned in the area. While doing that, I encountered an invisible spider, which was pretty cool to see and one of the reasons I prefer hard mode over other options. With pest control squared away, it was time to get on with resource collection. So, after some brief prep time, I mounted my trusty steed and made for the dark oak forest not too far away. Shortly after arriving, I was able to collect all the dark oak leaves I would need and make my way back home to collect the next resource on the list. Once I got home, I wasted no time getting to work on collecting the final resources for the build, with one final collection montage. With everything I need in the chest next to me, I am ready to construct the nicest build yet, starting now. With the completion of the Oaken Portal, we now have the first official large build in the survival world. But that's not the end of today's episode. For the start, we gathered materials. For the middle, the climax, we built. But there's one final chapter. In order to be able to complete plans for a future episode, we're going to need to go through. But I do need to be completely honest. I have been to the Nether already. I went on stream weeks ago through a smaller portal that I decorated pathetically. So, I tore it down. I haven't touched the subject up until now. So, I do already have a few materials from the Nether, and a small cobblestone box on the other side. So there's some exploring that doesn't need to happen yet. But we're going to go exploring in the Nether for the second to last thing in this episode, with the last thing being a slight surprise. Shall we get to it? my god. This is the greatest thing I have ever seen. A tiny, little chibi monster fella with a colossal sword. Oh my, look at, look at the run. Look at the run. I love him. I love him so much. This is amazing. I love this. This is so beautiful. Look at the way he flings his sword around. What swordsmanship. What beauty. What a truly refined creature. After getting thoroughly distracted by the tiny Ziglin warrior, I decided I would collect some lava and loot the nearby Bastion remnant for everything I could find. Once I reached the bottom, I was able to loot the chests for not one, not two, but 3 netherite ingots, and other valuables, making this expedition very worthwhile. After collecting on those, I made quick work of the rest of the Bastion remnant, securing an inventory of goods to take home. Seeing as that nether trip went as well as it did, acquiring the treasures I did and had not anticipated acquiring, I think that's almost the perfect way to end off today's episode if only there wasn't one better way. This tree is only the start to numerous really cool builds I have planned for this world. Actually, I'm designing one right now that I'm going to be building in the next episode, so make sure to be there for that. But that aside, all the cool builds I plan on having in this starter base is really basic. So there's one thing I want to do for ending off the episode, and that is upgrading the starter base, making it look better. I think that's the perfect way to wrap up today's episode. So I'm going to get to that right away. Alright, the starter base has received a complete overhaul. Not complete, but it's been upgraded severely. So here's the tour of all the changes that have been made in this time lapse. Start. The outer stone walls have been given detail. They looked bland before. So I added in stairs and normal stone to give them texture and depth. The roof, as you may have noticed, and I'll show you in FreeCam, has been upgraded as well. To match the medieval vibe I'm going for in this world in the future, I wanted this build to fit in properly. So, I made the roof fit in properly. Aside from that, the inside has also been overhauled. Hold on. Okay, let's try that again. The inside has also been overhauled. Adding this corner for some workstations and over here for the crafting table. It's really brought the inside to be much cozier. As well as, with the expansion of the roof, we gained space for a second floor where the bedroom now is, containing a shelf that has all of my Swift Sneak books. I believe these are all my Soul Speed books, and then miscellaneous enchantments throughout all the other bookshelves in the building. I think the overhaul to the starter base is a great way to end today's episode. Really happy with how everything turned out, and this window gives us a view of the new portal and one of the like 5 iron golems that have spawned in over time. With that, I think that's everything we need to do in today's episode to be ready for the big project in the next episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd like to ask you to subscribe. This took quite a bit of time to make, but it was a lot of fun, and if y'all want to see more of it, then be sure not to miss it. Other than that, I think we're all ready to end off today's episode with a proper see you next week.